Good morning, Borough President. How are you?
Good morning, Roberto. Doing good. It's cold. It's cold out. Sorry. Good morning, Roberto. It's cold outside, but we're doing good in here.
Yes. First, let's start with what do you think of the New York Times article? Let's get right in because you're on the trail, you're on the stump, and it sort of let the cat out of the bag that you're getting endorsed by Congresswoman La Luchadora Nydia
Yeah.
Velázquez, which is again, the current Congress member and the 30-year plus member of Congress that has, a long history of fighting for all communities, but, pride to Latinos. But I want to let you talk about, one, what you thought about the New York Times article, what the endorsement means for you, and then we're going to get into why you think you're the person that needs to sort of, take on the mantle of the, the congressional seat.
Yeah. Well, look, the first thing is just pride and just honor. If you're from this district, if you were born and raised in this district, Nydia Velázquez has been like foundationally the mentor to a whole generation of young people that want to get involved in politics. And she did it in a way that made us feel like we had our voice, we had our power, our conscience, and that we could lead that way. And I don't think a lot of people that are in politics have mentors like that. And we were lucky that literally our zip code made the difference. We were in a district that Nydia led, and because of that, she taught us how to lead. So I'm deeply grateful for the endorsement. I couldn't be prouder, but I still think she's seen what needs to happen, the work that needs to happen, the work that we need to see in Washington. And for her to say that I would be the best candidate to make that happen is deeply meaningful. She's seen the work that I've done up close and personal. We've been working for 20 years. When I was reforming the Democratic Party under New King's Democrats, she was the first elected official that supported us through that process. And we were just a bunch of 22 and 23-year-old people trying to figure it out. And she was there. She saw me fight for police reform in the city council when people thought that if I did that work, I would be committing political suicide. She had my back. She protected me. She made sure that if I thought it was the right thing to do and it was something that was in my heart, that I pursue it. And then she was important towards my success in being the first Latino borough president of Brooklyn, in a borough that is not Latino. But because of the work that I did, the policies and the content of the work, it made a big difference. So here I am, running for Congress, having the support of Nydia Velázquez, and again, just extraordinary. It's extraordinary. She's very important to me personally, but also to this community that she represented very well and strongly for the last more than 30 years.
Antonio, someone you mentioned your sort of track record from the New King's Democrats to beating now the late Vito Lopez and the Brooklyn Democratic Party in the machine, so to speak. And how you took on that race of someone who, again, had served for a long time and had high name recognition, but you sort of outworked them and obviously won the council seat. How does it feel, again, where your politics traditionally have been progressive, right, across the board? How do you distinguish yourself from Assembly Member Valdez? Because I really don't see where in Congress your votes are going to be any different.
I think I want to be honest. I think on the policy and the things that we care about, the distinctions are going to be hard to find. I am a progressive left candidate, and there's no denying it. And she is as well. And I think the distinction on how we fight, more so than what we fight about, I think it's what people are going to see. I was born and raised in this district. I have a history here. I know its issues very deeply. But also, when we talk about fighting to ensure SNAP benefits for our community, my mom had food stamps, and it allowed for us to eat and not go hungry. And we had Section 8. It made it so that I wasn't living in shelter when I got to this country. So when we talk about fighting for housing, fighting for SNAP benefits, ICE And I want to abolish ICE, right? And people are like, oh, that's just something people are saying now. When my parents got here in the late 1970s, ICE wasn't chasing them in the middle of the streets. They actually, this country welcomed them and this country supported them. And in doing so, in less than a generation, one of their children is going to be able to run for Congress. That's the work and the promise of this country. And that's something that I want to fight for and be able to pay it forward. Thank America for everything it's done for my family, and see if I could allow for the next little Dominican boy that comes here as an immigrant, know that he has a future as well. So I think the distinction between the two of us, I think is going to be, the experience that I've had in this district in going to its local institutions like Nuestros Niños, going to PS19, going to junior high school 50, getting raised by these provider mothers, going to the bodegas. I think that's going to make a difference. And also, I think is the fact that government subsidies help sustain me and save my life for all intents and purposes, and that my fight comes from a personal experience more than anything else. And then, it's going to be hard. Like I said, I think it's going to be hard to find a distinction between the two of us. I got love for Claire, and I think that she's like a promising representative in Albany, and I would be lying if I said that on policy we're not very close.
Now, question, what do you think there may be a distinction? Because you have a large constituency of Hasidim. Do you think there may be a difference there on your stances and your postures and your positions on the state of Israel?
So first, the Hasidim and that community, I lived across the street from them literally my entire life here on Hughes Street, and now I live a block away from them now in South Fifth. I would say this, that the issues that they care about are issues that I understand deeply. The conversations we're going to have are about yeshivas and how and whether we support them and what we can be doing to make sure that they're supported. They have huge social services needs in that community, and there's deep poverty in the Hasidic community. I've been their representative in the city council to a certain degree, but in Borough Hall for the last 4 years. They know me very deeply. So I don't know that there's going to, again, be a distinction between the two of us with the Hasidic community. The Hasidic community is also very focused locally, Roberto. Like the thing here is that I know this community very deeply. What they care about is making sure that the people of their community are taken care of. They have food, they have housing, and all the other issues that we're struggling with here in this neighborhood. Nationally, the issue of Israel and Gaza is less of an issue for them because they are very focused here locally. But even on that issue, I've come, to be a borough president that's always prided himself on, making sure we bring down the hate and the rhetoric and the anger, and also just like spreading love and ensuring that anti-Semitism and Islamophobia doesn't rear its head here in Brooklyn, where our diversity makes us everything we are. And that's the role I played as a borough president when it came to Israel, Gaza. I thought that was the role that I had. And, I've been an organizer for a long time, Roberto, and everybody has a role to play. Not everybody's the politician, not everyone's the activist, not everyone's the comms person. Like, everybody plays a role to make sure we accomplish our goals. And that was the role that I played. Now I'm going to go to Congress, and I got to be very clear with my constituents about what position I'm going to take on Israel and Gaza. And I think what the Netanyahu regime has done is a genocide. And also that we have to be very careful about the United States being complicit and continuing to enable Netanyahu as he continues continues the genocide in Gaza. So when we talk about weapons of war going to Israel, it's something that I would not support. I'm also not taking AIPAC money. I'm not taking corporate PAC money. So just like being very clear about my position there now that I will be a congressman come January.
Your neighboring congressional district, there's a race with in terms of the one you're running for, because you're borough president now. Congressman Madan Goldman is running against, again, a near and dear ally of yours, Brad Lander. And the mayor chose to endorse, Brad Lander there. What are your thoughts on not getting the mayor's endorsement, considering, again, he's achieved rock star status, right? And I want to hear your thoughts on what the endorsement means, what your thoughts on choosing to endorse one person who you've been shoulder to shoulder with in many battles, and not receiving the endorsement of the current mayor, Mayor Mamdani. What are your thoughts on it?
Look, I think it's all circumstantial. Our races are completely different. What's happening in Dan Goldman's seat with Brad Lander and what's happening here with us in Claire are two completely different worlds. So the expectation was there that Zoran would go with a DSA candidate, and that's his home, and he's making sure that he's supporting his home. It's a little disappointing that Nydia and him couldn't get together and figure out exactly how they were going to proceed in this district and in this race. I think that Nydia extended the olive branch and has had conversations in an attempt to see if we can come together to a determination on what the future of this district would look like. And I don't know if Mamdani accepted that olive branch or was willing to sit down with Nydia and really have a serious conversation about how we get there, which is sad because I think Nydia was the first non-DSA elected official that supported him, and also the first congressional elected official that supported him. And I just would have hoped that he gave her at least an opportunity to come to a place here where they're not on different sides. So the politics of the local race here, it's going to be what it's going to be, and I'm excited for it. But I'm not worried about who's endorsing other candidates or the work that another campaign is doing. We're going to do our work, and we're gonna show the people why I'm the best candidate for this position.
You went in front of the DSA, right, and try to get their endorsement and to their forum. Talk a little bit about the forum, your thoughts on the forum. Do you think it was fair, right, considering you're not a registered member? But I want to hear your thoughts, right? I mean, you still made the case, right, that you wanted and you wanted the endorsement. But again, how do you sort of distinguish your record and the assembly member's record? Even though you're not a part-time member, right?
Roberto, first, just want to be very clear. There's nobody in their right mind that thought I was going to a DSA forum and expecting an outcome in which the DSA would endorse me. That's not what was going to happen. And in our camp, we know very well what to expect in that forum. But they are a part of this community, and they have representatives and constituents that eventually I will be representing as a congressperson and that I represent now as a borough president. So what I wanted to do is just let them know where I stand. There's a lot of people in that room that don't know who I am, don't know my record, and definitely don't know the history of what we've done here in Williamsburg to fight power and to, pretty much lay the foundation and make this fertile ground for the DSA. So I just wanted to make sure I went there, told my story, let them know where I stood on these issues with no expectation of getting their endorsement. I'm not, politically ignorant to the realities of what I was coming to when I walked into that room. But I am an ally. I want to be very clear that I supported Zoran Mamdani. I think that he was the best choice for mayor. Julia Salazar was the first socialist that got elected to the state office, and Nydia and I were the first two elected officials that supported her. Debbie Medina was running as a DSA candidate long before Julia, and Nydia and I were with her too. So the DSA and I have a strong history. I actually met Julia Salazar during the Right to Know Act and the work that I did for police reform. She was a member of a committee of advocates that were helping me pass that legislation. This idea that I would go there to get their endorsement is not necessarily what was happening, but definitely wanted to show my solidarity and allyship in the work that we've done together.
Borough President, talk about some of the endorsements you have thus far. Some of your colleagues that have endorsed.
Yeah, so look, these are folks that I've worked with for a long time, but Sandy Nurse, Councilmember Sandy Nurse, Councilmember Councilmember Sandy Nurse, Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez, Councilmember Lignan Ressler, Councilmember Shaker Krishnan, and Councilmember Crystal Hudson are the council members that have supported me so far. It's every single council member that's non-DSA inside my district. I've also been endorsed by Jamani Williams, who's the public advocate and has been a great ally of mine for a long time. And I also just got endorsed by the 3 504 or 501c4s in the district, which are NYCC, Make the Road New York, and Churches United for Fair Housing. Those are all very important local institutions that help qualify many candidates here. And then the largest endorsement is obviously Nydia Velázquez. Like, I think it's pretty clear where folks are landing that are folks are landing in the community. I want to continue to surprise people, so I won't let you know what the future holds. But I think what you're seeing here, and you're going to see very clearly, is that the community I've represented for over 20 years and that I was raised in for the 40 years is going to show out for a person that they believe has stood with them and has had their back for a long time.
President, will you be seeking the endorsement of the Brooklyn Democratic Party and the Queens Democratic Party?
Look, I've not missed one forum that has been presented to this campaign, and I will be showing up to the Brooklyn Democratic Party's endorsement process if they have one, to the Queens Democratic Party endorsement if they have one. I'm here to make my case to everyone in this community, and I want to build the broadest coalition that I possibly can. I'm going to show people that I know how to build coalitions, that the fact that we won in North Brooklyn and reclaimed this community for the people versus the power of county back in those days, though that energy is still here. That essence and spirit is still here. And how we did that was building a broad coalition. We talked to everyone. We listened to everyone. It's very telling. Zoran's success in his campaign is being able to talk to an extremely left-leaning Democrat and even a very angry or conservative Republican, and getting them both to understand that the problem here is not necessarily that he's a Democrat or a socialist, but he opened up the tent. He allowed more people to come in than just his base. And I think that that's the type of energy and model that all elected officials should be pushing. So when the time comes, I'll be talking to the Brooklyn Dems. I'll be talking to the Queens Dems.
Have you had any conversations with Congressmember Ocasio-Cortez about a possible?
I haven't had, obviously, Ocasio-Cortez has been another model in the type of work that I want to be doing and how I see myself representing. But I have not had a conversation with Congresswoman AOC yet. I would just say Nydia announced her retirement about a month ago, and to win these races, a lot of work needs to be done. So I've been sprinting for the last 30 days, but I got a lot of calls to make and a lot of people to connect with. But that is a call that's a conversation I haven't had yet.
Labor, how many unions? Any unions come out yet for you?
So the unions have processes that are much more extensive or take longer than traditional advocacy organizations or political organizations. So we have to wait for those. But I want to be very clear in this race. The Labor candidate hasn't been, I think that Claire is using the Labor candidate as a big part of her profile or her narrative. But I also organized childcare providers for the UFT when I was working at NYCC. And the childcare providers are now part of the UFT because of the organizing that I was doing when I was working for ACORN. So when you talk about organizing and labor, it's something that I'm very familiar with. But also, I've done a lot of work here supporting union growth and development and supporting unions just in general here in this city. And I think when it's all said and done, I'm not going to take the title of what I expect people or who I expect to be with me. When it happens, we'll make the distinction there about who the labor candidate is.
How much money have you raised so far?
So in just it was like 24 days during Christmas and New Year's in the holiday season, I was able to raise $315,000. I raised $315,000 in less than 25 days. And it was the outpouring of support and the people ready to step up and be helpful has been absolutely amazing. And this is going to be a well-funded campaign and one that is going to be able to get the message out to the people of this district about who I am and what I believe in, and I'm looking forward to being their congressman.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up because I know you got things to tend to. And the last two questions: top three priorities if and when you get elected to Congress.
Yeah, so I feel like I got four priorities. So I
That's
want
fine,
to
you're
keep that.
for.
All right, so abolishing ICE is one of them. Another one is just representing Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a very big deal here. Nydia, by all intents and purposes, is the federal representative for Puerto Rico and the island. So I want to make sure that I'm still front and center, and we're figuring out a way to make sure that they feel that the representation or the advocacy for Puerto Rico's right to self-determination is real. And I'm going to be a huge ally on that. Another thing is just funding social services and making sure that our social safety net is not cut is going to be something I'm going to be fighting for. So that means universal health care, talking about housing and Section 8, talking about SNAP benefits and making sure that we can protect that. So those are three platforms that I'm going to be running on. And something that I won't be doing is supporting Israel's continued assault. I want to be clear, Netanyahu more than anything, and Israel's assault on Gaza and the genocide that we're seeing there.
All right, let's wrap this up. I'm the voter.
Yeah.
Let me pick a train station.
Yeah.
Let's pick Kosciuszko. Is that in the district, right? Kosciuszko.
Yeah. So that's the ones that the ones that everyone knows. Anything along the L line will work. So yeah, sure. Marcy's in the district.
Manhattan Avenue.
The Marcy Avenue is the one that is the express train where I live. So it's the one that most people know. But Marcy's good.
All right, Marcy. I'm standing and I'm getting off the train and you're there leafletting and doing retail. Why should I vote for you, Antonio, and not Assemblyman Claire Valdez?
Hey, I'm Antonio Reynoso. I'm your borough president, and I've represented this district for almost 14 years. And in that time, we were able to do amazing work when it comes to waste equity, when it comes to environmental justice and saving our daycare centers and making sure that the people of this district got the resources that they needed in housing, in healthcare, and in education. And now I'm running for Congress, and I want to make sure that the destruction that Trump and the Republicans are causing in Washington is stopped. And what we need is a fighter that is proven. And I've shown that day in and day out from over the last 12 years as an elected official, but much longer than that as an advocate in this community. So so come January, come June, I'm hoping that I can get your support.
Antonio, who's running the operation? I'll end there. Who's your campaign manager?
Yeah, so everything is like I know a lot of people feel like we've been doing this for like 6 months, but it's been a month. But no, Red Horse Strategies is my GC. They've been my GC for a long time. Camille Rivera from New Deal is in the campaign as well. Eric Koch is helping me do comms. Mike Giacchio is helping me do my fundraising, and we have Annabelle who's running my as my campaign manager. So, we have a good team that knows what they're doing, has won fights like this before, and will win this one too.
Any parting words, anything you want to add before I let you go?
I just want to say that in the work that I'm doing is, understanding the history and why where I came from matters, but also looking to the future and making sure that we can affect meaningful change in people's lives in the United States government. So I'm really looking forward to this. My heart is in a good place. My head is in a good place. And I just want to say thank you to this district. And I'm looking forward to seeing you out in the streets.
And you got a big rally tomorrow, right? There's a big rally tomorrow kicking off.
Yes, yes. Look, it's a kickoff because we rushed it in the beginning because it was all a surprise to us. We didn't throw our rally, so we have our first campaign rally. Obviously, the Congresswoman is going to be there. We have other special guests that are going to show up, and we would love anyone that wants to come. Please come, hang. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's at Turks in Bushwick, so it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Borough President, thank you again for your time. All the best to you. Continued success.
All
Good
right.
luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care, Roberto.